Like right before hitting the record button, I went to go mess with the blinds, and there was so clearly somebody standing in the street, like waiting for a car or an Uber or whatever, and they looked up and saw all of these lights, and you can see that they were like, what the fuck is going on in there? Also, if I seem like the antsiest bit frantic in this video, it is because it is the night before Thanksgiving, and in about an hour and a half, Matt's coming home from work, and we are immediately packing the car and heading 4 hours back to New Jersey. So, a little on edge. Hi guys, my name is Lacey of Spookless and Fat Hips, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. What better day for an anti-haul than Black Friday, am I right? This was so important for me to get this video up in time because I caught myself. I caught myself falling for the Black Friday bullshit. And what I mean by that is, there is basically nothing on my wish list right now. There is like one eyeshadow palette that I can think of that I'm sure I'll get eventually. And really, the only thing I'm probably gonna buy today, Black Friday or Cyber Monday, is some more Sims expansions because I'm really back into The Sims 4. But I caught myself like browsing Instagram and like Beauty Deals BFF to be like, hypothetically, if I was gonna spend money, I just want to like know if there's anything crazy going on right now, and that's shameful. Like, stop it, self. And I figured by scolding myself, you all could take that lesson as well, because I feel like there's also people out there that probably are just looking to spend money for the sake of spending money, or looking to spend money for the sake of deals when really you don't need to be spending money at all. And like, I'm someone that likes to shop a lot, we all know this, but like something about Black Friday, I really just can't stand. I think it's because I spent so many years working in retail, and now Black Friday has pushed so much into Thanksgiving. I heard a rumor that JCPenney's was opening at like 2 p.m. on Thanksgiving, and that's just so messed up. It means that people are going to be away from their families, and I hate all of it. I hate everything about this time of the year, and being so scorned from working retail so long, I've hated the holidays for a long time, and I'm only just now kind of like not hating them anymore, because it used to be like retail sucked, work sucked, but you were also going through finals in college. So if you're going through finals right now, I'm with you. I understand. I'm so sorry. You're gonna do great. All of that aside, it's time for another anti-haul. I was originally gonna do another gagged or gag, which is my Will I Buy It series, but like I filmed it and then I trashed it because everything in that video was so hateful and I wasn't gonna buy anything. So I'm like, fuck it, turn it into an anti-haul. Let's help some people. Let's calm the start of the holiday craziness, because you know there's gonna be more holiday craziness. Hi, hello. Real quick, I am back in New Jersey in my parents' dining room right now. I really wanted to get this video up today, and I noticed that I go in and out of focus a lot in this video, and I honestly think it's because I'm so pale that I practically radiate my own light, and my camera just didn't know what to do with that, because truly all of my settings were right. I don't know what happened, but because what I'm saying is so important, and there's gonna be pictures popping up on the screen anyway, I'm just gonna put it up as is. So hold your "you should do better, fix this bullshit" comments. I'm aware. Sorry about that. General disclaimer, I'm anti-hauling makeup, stuff, product, junk that's gonna rot in a landfill. I'm not anti-hauling you. If you love this stuff, that's good. Good for you. Also, I think we've crossed dangerous territory into people standing brands and feeling the need to come to their defense when those brands could give a shit about you as a human. They just want your money. So knock that off in my comments, please. I'm sick of making this disclaimer, but there's gonna be someone regardless who is very upset by the things I'm anti-hauling. And you know what? That's a you problem. Sorry, I'm already feisty. It's because of all the reasons I said. Holiday stress. I feel like I look so cute today. I'm wearing a Give Me Glow palette on my eyes. Anyway, bringing up my friend Trendmood here to help me out. I want to anti-haul right away all of Colourpop. I'm probably wearing something Colourpop on my face right now, but as a whole, as a person, as a Lacey Spookless from Fat Hips, I am getting very, very concerned about the rate in which Colourpop is releasing product. And it used to be something that we were joking about, and it's now crossed the territory into being very worrisome, because I can't imagine it's sustainable, and they don't seem to give a fuck. I have so many things bookmarked in my phone to talk about, but like, even within this, there's stuff that I want, but I can't bring myself to buy it because Colourpop is starting to make me feel sick. I'm not saying I hate Colourpop. I'm not saying I'm never going to shop from them again. But the fact that they're posting memes on their social media, like joking about how much they release, is just really, really bothersome because it kind of echoes that whole idea of like, it doesn't matter how many of us as individuals try to be sustainable. It's these huge corporations that don't seem to give a fuck. And everything about Colourpop, they're wanting to be fast fashion, all of that, is so harmful, and it's starting to like really be problematic to me. So first off, I have their Going Coconuts collection. This is the thing that I actually truly wanted. I wanted the palette because I think the palette is nice and really beautifully neutral. I could really care less about the Super Shocks because I keep convincing myself that I love them, but then I buy them and never use them. I have so many bronzers, it's unreal. The lippy sticks, those like lip crayons, I also really love, but I have like 5 or 6 of them and they're pretty sheer, and I imagine they're not worth it to keep accumulating because they're not going to look all that different on the lips. I almost made a Colourpop order this week and then I just couldn't bring myself to. The other thing that was going to be in that Colourpop collection was their new Butterfly collection. And all of this happened within 2 weeks, all of the things that I'm commenting on right now. But their Butterfly collection was, again, another really beautiful palette. I'm a sucker for purple tone nude palettes, so that's why I do want this palette. I'm not saying I won't get this in Coconuts eventually, but for right now, I just can't do it. There's also some Jelly Much shadows. Same thing as the Super Shocks. I love them, but I never reach for them, and the jellies go bad much faster than the Super Shocks. There's also some like sparkly body glitter. We've talked about body glitter in anti-hauls before. If I wanted body glitter, I would just take a highlighter I already own and use that as a body glitter. The Frozen collection, I'm so sick of Frozen, and I haven't even seen Frozen 2 yet. I know that I probably will because I have this weird, almost abusive emotional relationship with Frozen 1. And what I mean by that is, when I first saw the first Frozen in theaters, it just resonated with me to my core because there's a lot of themes of like loving yourself despite the things that are destructive within you. And I was just coming to terms with a lot of my own demons in that sense. So like that was everything to me. Let It Go was everything to me. And then I was also a manager at Target at that time, and the Frozen memorabilia just got shoved down my throat and then like stomped all over my soul, despite the fact that the movie has glaring plot holes that I can't unsee now, but that's neither here nor there. So anyway, all that being said, I'm sure there's moms and big sisters and aunts everywhere who were like, oh, my niece or nephew was so into Frozen, they're gonna love these palettes. I'm sure that that's why Colourpop made these palettes and the lip products and whatever. I'm gonna hard pass on these because if it wasn't for the Frozen packaging, the inside wouldn't be that interesting. The Elsa palette is kind of interesting, but I'm not here for the pressed glitter anymore. And I think enough people have been outspoken about the fact that they don't like pressed glitter that I'm surprised that Colourpop is still doing it. And then there's like 5 other palettes that have happened, I feel like. All boring, all have been released probably by Colourpop before, it's just a new packaging. There's this new gigantic Bare Necessities 30 pan palette that's coming out, which I need to show you something real quick. As somebody who has bought so many Colourpop palettes in the past, because once upon a time I used to try and collect them when they first did the pressed shadow palettes, not anymore. I have recently ripped apart all of my Colourpop palettes and kind of Frankenstein them together, gotten rid of a lot of them, decluttered a lot of it. And one of the things I did was I made my own Bare Necessities palette, essentially well before this palette was released or teased, with like the pieces of all of those palettes that I Frankenstein. Does that make sense? Like, these are my favorites out of all of them. I created my most perfect warm neutrals palette. I'm good, as you can see. If you own a couple Colourpop palettes as it is, you're good too. You have the Bare Necessities palette already. Believe me, I don't like this territory that Colourpop has stepped into. It's really, really not okay to me. I'm sure someone somewhere is like, I'm just starting a makeup collection. This is perfect. Probably this is something that I would have wanted when I first started my makeup collection, but as a seasoned collector, absolutely not. The last thing about Colourpop that is extremely problematic to me is all of these bundles that they've released this week for Black Friday. They have a glitter bundle. a lippy stick bundle, a lip pencil bundle, which once upon a time I bought that lippy pencil bundle and I almost never reached for it. That's why in my last video I'm wearing a lippy stick, because I'm kicking myself for buying it. They have bundles of everything. Bundles on bundles on bundles on bundles. The one bundle that would have tempted me would have been the glitter bundle, but I already have some of these glitters, so it would be just a waste of my time and money to buy it again. I hate when Colourpop does this. I hate when they repackage things that have already existed together as being new and exciting, because if you didn't want them in the past, you shouldn't buy it now just because it's on sale, which is really how all of Black Friday should work. If you weren't planning on buying any of these releases beforehand, you shouldn't be like forcing yourself to find things that you want to buy for the hell of it now, which is something that I used to do so badly. On the subject of things I would have wanted when I first started collecting makeup, but now I know better, Morphe has released 3 to 4, I don't know, a various amount of things that I just have no interest in, and a lot of these things I've seen in person and I can confirm that I want nothing to do with. What I thought was their holiday palette, the new Electric Nights collection, which I'm focusing specifically on the big palette. It is a mostly metallic palette. I've seen it in person and it is so boring and ugly in person. I really, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I cannot imagine why you would ever want this. They are marketing the middle big pans as all being highlighters, but it doesn't seem like a wide variety of people could get use of those highlighters depending on their skin tone. The one neon corner, I guess it's supposed to be broken up into quads, but that doesn't translate well in person. In person, it just looks very confused and mismatched, and I don't like it. Something else that I don't like, James Charles thinks that he's fucking the game up by releasing a mini version of his original palette. I am not the biggest James Charles fan anymore. I used to not so much like him, but kind of understand his gig. Now I really can't. Maybe I'm just getting old. I'm pushing 30. I think I'm just not his audience. There's so much wrong with releasing a mini palette of the thing that you claimed nobody would ever need another palette ever again for. Criticisms other people have had. I don't think teenagers are worried about traveling with their palettes. I'm sure a lot of parents have had to buy this twice by now. I own the original James Charles palette. I feel like I was peer pressured into buying it, and I'm mad at myself for that because it's only an okay palette. It's not the greatest, and in general, every time I'm in an Ulta, I hear teenagers talking amongst themselves about how great Morphe is and how excited they are to buy Morphe products, and how they heard so-and-so, like James Charles, whatever, talking about how great quality this is. And that breaks my heart, because whenever we talk about manipulative marketing tactics on this channel, I inevitably get comments of people being like, but Lacey, I'm an adult, I know better, you're being very cynical right now, humans can think for themselves. Which I would argue human history has proved otherwise, that humans maybe can't always think for themselves, but I digress. But that's why I continue to talk about shitty marketing tactics and parasocial relationships and all that garbage you're all probably sick of hearing me say, because teenagers don't know better. They don't have those critical thinking skills. They don't understand that James Charles gets a nice hefty cut of his Morphe code and his Morphe products, and that maybe they aren't the best things in the world, and that there's other products in that same Ulta store at the same price point that are easily as accessible that aren't as mediocre. Just the tea on that. The one thing I will say is this other new Morphe release that I just saw, the 18A Blew Ya Away and the 18T Truth or Bare artistry palettes. They're like cooler tone palettes. One skews a little grayish blue. This is the most interesting thing I've seen Morphe do in a long time, specifically that bluish gray one. I'm not checking for it right now because I'm not checking for Morphe right now, and I just did a huge declutter. I'm a little paletted out right now. I'm just now stopping the palette buying and reaching for things that I should have reviewed on this channel a long time ago. I will give them credit where credit is due. They don't have a lot of cool tones, so this is interesting, but I can't. Fucking can't. Anastasia Beverly Hills is doing all kinds of craziness like they always are, because they've lost their minds and lost everything about them that was special to begin with. The mini Norvina Pro palettes, I get that Norvina is her own separate brand within a brand now. I've seen the displays at Sephora. The Pro palettes are really cool in person, I'm not gonna lie. But I think just the way that they went about all of this has been so shady. And now they have these mini palettes, which if you have the big palettes, you don't need the minis because all of the shades are duped within themselves, basically. I've spent a long time swatching at Sephora. I just really wish everything about the Pro palettes was different. I wish they released all 3 all at once. I wish that they let everyone know that minis were going to be coming so that people could have made an informed decision. Also, the price of the minis is about half the price of the big palettes, but for only 9 shades, so I feel like that's a little disjointed in the pricing. They also have this 10-piece liquid lipstick set coming out and a 10-piece lip gloss set coming out. Again, with the bundles, if you weren't going to buy all of these products beforehand, you don't need them now. The gloss bundle is the most tempting to me because I love gloss, but I have so much gloss it's laughable. And now they have these empty palettes for $10 a piece. I don't really like these aesthetically, which I realize is petty, but I feel like Anastasia Beverly Hills used to be very classy, and this feels kind of like new and millennial, which I'm not saying is a bad thing, I just don't personally like it. Everything they do now feels so kind of cheap and rushed, and not as like thoughtful and artistic, and it's such a shame. I really miss how like groundbreaking modern renaissance was. I know everyone's saying that and we're all sick of hearing that, but even Subculture, like no palette looked like Subculture when that came out, despite how controversial that whole palette was. Now ABH just feels like any other brand. Like Kylie Cosmetics could have released these products, Colourpop could have released these products. It doesn't feel individual anymore. It doesn't feel unique. Speaking of Kylie Cosmetics, I almost never talk about Kylie Cosmetics because I'm so rarely tempted by anything that she does. But this Dear Santa holiday collection that's coming out, I think is kind of pretty because the packaging is really fucking cool. I love how she does her holiday packaging. I think the last thing I ever bought from Kylie Cosmetics before I blacklisted her brand, which was like my second video I ever did on this channel, I think. But the last thing I ever bought was like a holiday collection from her a couple years ago, and I liked the aesthetics of that holiday collection. I like the aesthetics of this holiday collection packaging wise. Color wise, everything inside is so boring, and I don't stand by the quality of Kylie Cosmetics. I think it's an incredibly overhyped, mediocre product, and I don't know anyone in my real life who gets hyped for Kylie Cosmetics. It seems to be like a teenager thing, which again, maybe I'm just like 27 years old and I can't relate anymore, that's fine. But if I'm gonna buy a holiday palette that's truly Christmassy, I want the inside to blow me away and be worth the price. We are now delving into territory of celebrity slash influencer stuff that I cannot be bothered with. The first of which is Haus Labs, which is Lady Gaga's makeup brand. She is releasing what looks like a red lipstick, I think, for the holidays, which I have so many metallic red lipsticks it's laughable. Talk about the least original thing that you could do this holiday season. And then these liquid eyeshadows, which are really pretty colors, but from what I've heard about the Haus Labs formula, they're comparable to any other liquid eyeshadows that exist on the market. And I have met very few liquid eyeshadows that I actually like. I'm also really not down for the Amazon exclusive thing. And as a whole, Lady Gaga's brand doesn't feel connected to Lady Gaga as a person, as a celebrity, as an artist. It feels like she's probably not making any creative decisions. At the end of the day, like someone on her team is showing her pictures and she's kind of going yes or no. It doesn't feel personal enough. This next celebrity thing, this one okay, story time. Fun fact about me, I am as close as I could possibly be to standing Kesha without probably standing her because I really don't stand anybody. But I have seen Kesha in concert like 4 times. I've cried every one of those times. It was like a religious experience each time. When I hear praying and I'm in the crowd, I just like hold my hands together and like I'm in the song and I'm sobbing. It's like really like I need to get over myself. She is somebody that I just adore. And she's coming out with a makeup brand and I want it to be good so badly, but I don't have high hopes. Kesha is releasing Kesha Rose Beauty, I believe it is. It looks like, again, a red lipstick and a huge Morphe-esque eyeshadow palette. I don't think we've seen the inside of the palette yet. And I want to like believe it's going to be the aesthetics of Kesha and it's going to be very colorful and rainbow and gorgeous. But I have a feeling it's going to be some mass-produced bullshit. And really, this is an instance where you almost got me. I almost love this person so much that I didn't care either way. But I cannot bring myself to do that. Somebody that I don't have that temptation for, Tarte is collaborating with Lele Pons for an eye and cheek palette that has oh so quirky tilted pans in it because Lele Pons is so quirky, and some lashes and a gloss. If you don't know about Lele Pons, she's a former Viner who is incredibly controversial. One, because if you listen to her other former Viner friends, she doesn't seem to be that good of a person. My problem with her, besides the whole you make cringy Instagram comedy crap, because her comedy is terrible. And if you think I don't have a reference point for that, I did improv comedy for 6 years. I think I'm hilarious. But my actual problem, the reason why I'm being a bitch right now, and this isn't like girls hating girls, it's because she unethically markets to kids. I think we all know on this channel that I get the most heated when we're talking about ethical marketing, and she does her videos in a way where she likes to pretend that her audience isn't super young and impressionable, but she's very aware that it is, very much like Jake Paul, and she'll do these whole videos focused around her sponsorships that are not clearly labeled as sponsored, and they're not giving that information ethically, in my opinion, to children, and it's very manipulative and evil. So the fact that Tarte is partnering up with her and doesn't seem to have done their research on how crappy that is really problematic. They might as well have made a palette with the Paul brothers. Like, that's how I feel about Lele Pons. Besides the inside's boring, what did we expect from Tarte? Old news, but I'm going to talk about it. Tati Beauty. She is no longer delivering us vitamins. She is delivering us some groundbreaking shadows. I will say, I feel like she tried to be different. I like the idea of a gradient of finishes. I think, again, people who are trying to build a beginner collection or don't have a lot of palettes or are looking for one staple palette, this could be it. But I do think it's overpriced. It's almost $50, and I think the pressed glitter is not for everybody. And I think specifically if you cut that row of pressed glitters out, absolutely no one would care about this palette. I think the beauty community is very much into textures right now, and Tati's not an idiot. She knows that. I should say I'm not really anti-Tati. I feel very neutral about Tati. Sometimes I do watch her videos. She strikes me as someone who does genuinely really love makeup, but I don't think I'm her target audience. This is very much like, I don't know, ever since Nisa called the font Live, Laugh, Love font on this palette, I can't unsee it, and I feel like that's very much her demographic. Also, from what I understand, the Tati Beauty is created by Seed Beauty, which owns Colourpop and Kylie and Kim Kardashian, all that jazz, and the formulas are very comparable, so I would just buy Colourpop if I wanted pressed glitter and some neutrals, which I've already done from Colourpop, so I am all set. I've already talked about it, but we're gonna talk about it again. Jaclyn Cosmetics or Jaclyn Cosmetics. Jack Attack is back, and she's pushing out some highlighters at us and completely erasing the lipstick gate from her social media and putting her fingers in her ears and pretending that it never happened. I made a whole video about highlighters you could buy that are fantastic that are not Jaclyn Cosmetics. The brushes in this collab seem like Morphe brushes. I'm just going to call a spade here. I get that she's trying very much to be a luxury brand, but I don't think after the lipstick thing that she gets to be a luxury brand. Like I said in my highlighter favorites video, please don't be ignorant to the fact that Jaclyn Hill has fucked up so many times before. She really has proven that she's not worthy of any more collabs or brands because she doesn't seem to have learned anything from all of the mess ups of the past. Not the lipsticks, not the vault, not all the drama with Becca Cosmetics. She has a clear history of exploiting her fans, choosing money over quality control, lying, really using tricky language to get out of things, making excuses, claiming to be so invested in her fans when it really seems like she has put money over their safety. There are so many highlighters in the world. There's so many. You don't have to give Jaclyn Hill your money. You can still like her as a person, but you can still recognize that Jaclyn Cosmetics as a brand maybe isn't that trustworthy anymore, and that her as a person and her brand are two different people, and that truthfully, if she never sold another damn piece of makeup in her life, she would still be a multi-millionaire probably. She's fine. She also won Tutorial List of the Year. What an insult to all of the makeup artists that work so hard to produce educational content on this platform, but go off, sis. I am clearly not Team Jaclyn Hill. If you are, that's fine. I'm sure the comments are exploding as we speak. Watch Maggie Make Fish's video. I'm going to plug it one more time. You're going to look at Jaclyn Hill and her history of selling a lot differently after that video. And finally, the be-all end-all of influencer, celebrity, crazy hyped collabs. The Jeffree Star Cosmetics x Shane Dawson collab collection, the conspiracy collection. I'm not going to talk about what I thought about the series or the people because we're going to do that on the Half Cousins podcast now that everything's wrapped up. I will just say I thought the whole thing was boring and clearly a 6-hour fucking marketing campaign. And I think going forward, a lot of influencers are all of a sudden going to want to show you the behind the scenes of them making their collabs and like all of that jazz. I think this is the start of something annoying. That's just my 2 cents. Objectively looking at the collection, the mirrors are cool as fuck. That's my favorite part of this collection is the big pig mirrors. I love them. The outside aesthetics of the whole collection, that conspiracy palette and the mini controversy palette, love it. I think it was great. I think Jeffree's team, who was in charge of all of the stuff, creating the packaging and all of that stuff, 10 out of 10, amazing. The inside, objectively speaking, I think if it wasn't a Jeffree Star Shane Dawson collab and we stripped that packaging away, we stripped the names away, we stripped like the pretty embossings into the pans away, nobody would give a fuck about this color story and the big conspiracy palette because it feels so disjointed. Each individual row is really cool and kind of stands on its own. I will say the fact that there's not deep, rich mattes in this collection is very problematic to me. Besides the fact that a lot of these shades are going to be too light on a lot of people, I don't understand why Jeffree Star seems to be allergic to creating depth within his own palettes. But just the whole thing together feels confusing, even for me, even as someone who likes ugly color stories. I feel like I would have a hard time coming up with what to use within this palette. The mini is slightly better, but again, I feel like a lot of the shades skew really light, and I really wonder if they just only have yes men on their team. Like, did nobody stop them and say like, hey, it doesn't look like a wide variety of people are going to get a lot of use out of these palettes. You should throw in maybe one darker brown. The tea with the new green shade, the new old green shade that they were removing and putting back, I actually think it makes the mini palette look really bad. I like the green shade though. I think they just need to put it in some gaudy Jeffree Star-esque packaging and sell it as a single and call it a day. The stuff that I do like in this collection though, I think the lip gloss, the Shane Glosson gloss, like 10 out of 10 for that name because it's hilarious, and the lip balm make perfect sense in terms of this collection, and specifically for Shane as a man who is very masculine and is only recently in makeup and what it seems like is wearing it kind of lightly and maintaining a lot of masculine elements about himself. These two things especially make sense because I feel like it's a good way to introduce cosmetics to masculine presenting people who are afraid of looking too feminine and want to maintain all the things that I just discussed. I think it'll work for a lot of people. I think that's really smart, and I really like the gloss packaging a lot better in the solid black. The lipstick bundles, oh my gosh, I have seen so many reviews on this collection, and I have seen so few of these lipsticks look good on anybody, and I'm saying that again objectively. The one shade that I like the most is the shade everybody else hates, is that shade Shane. That's the shade that I would wear because I like spooky lips, as we all know. It's perfect for me. The light pink especially, and the light like metallic pink, that Ryland shade, I have seen that shade look good on nobody. And I've seen people even fairer than me put it on. It doesn't seem to flatter anybody. I know that Jeffree Star makes a lot of his lip products to be used in like lip art and they're eye safe. And I think most people who use them are going to have to use them in that way or layer other things over or under them. But as just standalone lipsticks, they don't make sense. And I feel like with this collection, they were trying very hard to make it appeal to people who don't normally reach for the crazy colors. This wasn't it then as far as lip colors go. And I've heard other people bring up the fact that when Shane was picking the colors, Jeffree was very much over his shoulder being like, oh, we don't have a color like that already. So it seemed like he was kind of guiding his hand a little bit because Jeffree's not an idiot. The lipsticks are my least favorite part of this whole collection. I like the pig bundle thing that it's in. But even as far as Jeffree lipsticks go, because he makes a lot of weird lipsticks, this isn't it. And the reason why I'm talking about the Shane thing, despite the fact that I've beaten a dead horse and that like everybody else has already said everything that I probably just said about the Shane collection, is I also know that Shane Dawson is re-releasing his merch today, Black Friday. And that just brings up this theme of like, influencer collabs in general. You don't have to spend money to support your favorite influencers. I think that is so important to be said. I think that is so important to keep saying. It is so much more important that you watch videos, click likes, comment, share them, interact on social media, like be hype men, support influencers that way, than it is to shell out the cash to financially support people who don't need it. You need your money more than anybody else. The one thing I will critique in this video about the whole Shane Dawson Jeffree Star collab is I think it promoted a lot of really irresponsible spending practices, in that not only in Shane's series was he hyping up like the website being broken and all of that stuff, which I get, it was like highly emotional for him. He was very aware that he has young fans that were doing everything they could to buy this palette, and that everyone was so upset. Like, I get that. I'm not gonna like shame you all for loving makeup like that, because I love makeup. But what I will say is, like, I think we all need to get a grip when we're having breakdowns over not being able to buy makeup, when we're having panic attacks, when we're crying, when we're spending more money than we can afford, when we're spending more money than we were planning to spend in the begin with. These are all themes that I saw on social media that day. I don't like that Jeffree Star went on his social media and didn't specifically apprehend buying from resellers. He basically was like, hey, you could do that if you want to. I don't think you should. It would have been the most responsible if he got on social media and said, absolutely do not consider doing that. You will get your products eventually. They could be counterfeit. They could be dangerous. You don't know where they're coming from. You don't have to do that. I think he should have explicitly said that. I'm really kind of bummed out that Shane has had radio silence about all of the defects in the palettes, about them coming broken from Beauty Bay, all that stuff. I realize it might not be his responsibility, because like that Jeffree Star is the business owner and he did address those things. Fine. I'm not gonna like call him a saint for doing what he should have done as a business owner. This is not like a thank you kind overlord moment. He did what he needed to do that a lot of influencers haven't had the wherewithal to do, apparently. But I think if it was any other influencer who was having problems with their collab, we would be like going for blood and being like, explain yourself, and Shane hasn't said anything. And I feel like, I know we've all talked about keeping the same energy, but like, really? Going back to what I was just saying earlier though, I really think, like, obviously these influencers just want to make money, they're not going to say this, but the fact that they haven't been like, hey, let's not pay bills, because those are things I saw on social media too. I'm not going to be able to feed myself this week, or I guess I'm not going to buy gas today, or like all of this stuff. I know people are probably saying that satirically, but I just don't think that's okay. I don't think it's okay to stan anybody or anything or any company to the degree that people are standing Shane Dawson and Jeffree Star right now, or any of the other people or brands or things that I've talked about in this video. Corporations just want your money. They're not your friends. I feel like I have to just say that in every video now. One more time for the people in the back. No one deserves your money more than you do. I know we've all developed these emotional connections with these people, that we watch the 6-part whatever series and you love these people so much and you're rooting for them. You can do that responsibly. I'm not saying you shouldn't buy these products. These are just things that I'm anti-hauling. You can buy whatever you want, but just do so safely. We've crossed such dangerous territory into now standing brands and not allowing brands or huge influencers or corporations to be critiqued, because we're worried that like it's personal and that we have to come to their defense, and it's so toxic, and I'm scared for the future. I really am. I'm gonna get off my soapbox now. Like I said in the beginning, like I just said 2 seconds ago, if you want to buy anything in these videos, if you love these products, if you love these people, if you completely disagree with me, that's fine. It's all personal preference, baby. I continue to make these videos because so many people resonate with what I'm saying and need to hear these like smart shopping messages that I'm delivering. I know I need to tell myself these messages. I know the Lacey of the past really needed to hear this stuff and be like almost unplugged from all of this like constant barrage of buy the shit that we get every day in the beauty community. And it's Black Friday and the age of consumption has begun once again. If you like this video, if you like anti-hauls, and if you like me, please hit like and subscribe. You can also follow me on my Instagram, which is also Spookless and Fat Hips, and my Twitter at SpookyLacey, as well as the Half Cousins podcast. All of that will be linked down below. Makeup on my face, everything else you could ever want about me. Leave me a comment down below and tell me what you're anti-hauling this holiday season and what you plan to do to keep yourself in check. I know that I have a kind of loose makeup budget that I adhere to, and I'm not planning to break that just for Black Friday. I think budgeting is one of the best things you can do to navigate this season, but anything like that as well, leave down below. It'll definitely be helpful for me and other people. But other than that, that is all I have to say. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you had a great holiday if you celebrated, if you're American. And other than that, I'll see you in the next one. Bye guys!